Welcome, everybody, back to the Hot Seat Podcast. It is finally the time to close out the pre-marriage counseling episodes. We're ending it with intimacy. Just before we had a pretty good series about divorce and how it can go the wrong way and how there are amicable separations as well. But one of the major things that can contribute to a divorce is the lack of intimacy. So I brought my brothers on so we can pretty much talk about it a little bit, bring a little bit of the biblical scriptures to it, and just get their input and learn some things. So we have Carl over there,
Yo,
aka Mr. Toothbrush. We got we got Adam right there down below. Yes, he got the highlighter orange on. So let's get started. So intimacy. So we're going to talk about just the pure definition of what it is for me, what intimacy means, and you guys give me your thoughts as well. So intimacy for me is kind of like a magnet. So it's a draw between the positive and the negative to where people really cannot be without each other. So there's always the light, the dark, the happy, the sad. Depending on the person's personality, the opposite technically attracts. So you have the law of attraction there, to where there's a lot of familiarity, familiarity, closeness, nearness, just being inseparable. Whether from emotional, from the affection, all the way down to physical, sexual. So just that constant connection in all bases of life. So that's pretty much how I look at intimacy. So yeah, Carl, what is intimacy like for you?
intimacy for me. See, my intimacy, my intimacy goes bang, bang, bang. So,
Okay.
My love goes bang, bang, bang.
yeah, it's a little bit. It's physical for sure, and emotional. Just expressing, my love for well for my wife, and even let my kids know that I love them. But as far as like intimacy, my wife, expressing that I love her, as well as the physical,
Yeah.
the fellowship,
Yeah, got you. The fellowship is
covenant,
the foundation. Got you.
the bang, bang, bang.
Okay. Like to play the drums. There's nothing wrong with that. You're a musician. So go right on ahead.
Congos.
Live your best life. Okay, for the culture. All right. Okay, Adam, define intimacy.
So I would say, for marriage, to be, I would say for me, it's more of like kind of like closeness, and definitely. And one thing is that the physical part of the intimacy, but then also speaking on like the woman's side of it, for them it's being close, knowing that they can trust you, and being able to talk to you about things that are deeper than just surface talk.
Yeah.
So just wrapping all that into one, I feel like
And cuddle.
the cuddle. Yeah, exactly. Not just bang 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 and then no cuddle after.
Actually do have pretty pretty cool pillows out there that help us out with our arms when it comes to the cuddling at night. So those
Is it pretty cool? What?
pillows. So they're like
Oh, okay. Yeah, the one I saw the one you sent. You have that? You got it?
no, I ain't got it yet, but it's for sure on the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If I find one I like, oh yeah, it'll be purchased for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That arm be hurting.
Right. Yeah. That. Usually for me, like I'll just when my arm goes to sleep, that's when it's time to go to sleep. So I have to kind of slide it out, you know. You know that slide you try to do without without moving them, you don't want to disrupt anybody, but
yeah.
Right, but do they be on there kind of hard where you just be like, dang, move? They get whiplash.
Right.
I just sneak that arm away, and then it's like they move to the arm and put more weight on.
Right.
I'm locked up.
That's when you didn't get the physical part. That's when you're not trying to move it as lightly. You didn't get the physical part.
Night no more. Wake up. Get off. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's the whole sexual part of it is true. I mean, the Bible doesn't. It really makes no mistakes when it says be fruitful and multiply. How about Genesis? When it goes for this reason a man shall live with his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, they become one flesh. So he's really making it extremely plain on the bang bang bang, as Carl would put it. So I think it's a very important part of it. I think it helps with the temptation, keeps your eyes focused on each other. That the Bible speaks about that. You don't want to have wandering eyes because you're withholding from one another. So it's pretty extremely important to keep that in tune. But what I do want to know, because it isn't all about sex. It's one aspect of the marriage. Intimacy does go far and beyond that. It is one of the bases, of course. But I just wanted to know.
It's important, though.
Oh, it's for sure. I mean, when God said go out and multiply, you got to practice. I mean, it doesn't happen. Gotta keep this.
Hey, Flo.
Yo.
Your microphone is or your sound is off. It's really low.
Can you hear me now?
It was the same.
It's low.
It's really low. Like I don't know what happened. It was fine earlier, but it just went really low. I can still hear Carl. Carl, can you hear me fine?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Not really.
Not really?
It's still low.
Still low? What is happening?
I can see you now, though.
You couldn't see me before?
No, you just got closer to the camera.
Oh. I would say it's your thing over there then. It ain't me. Can you hear me, Carl?
I can hear you. It's just really low. But I mean, I can hear you enough to.
Got you.
Just.
Yeah, it was louder earlier, and then for some reason it just took a deep. Just got.
Deep dive, huh?
I don't know if you changed anything since you hit record.
Let me do this. How about now?
It's still pretty much the same.
Still the same?
I
don't know what happened. I didn't push anything.
Yeah, you might just have to talk a little louder then.
All right. Let's talk a little bit louder. One more time? So with intimacy, sexual intercourse is one aspect of it, but there are others. It goes far deeper than that. As you said in the beginning, you have the emotional connection.
It changed. It went right. It's back to normal now. So
for sure, the physical connection, of course, for sure that. But from a woman's perspective, when you're talking about love languages, it isn't always bang, bang, bang. They're not connecting with you on that way. So, Adam, how is it that you express intimacy in your marriage to where you can keep that strong connection emotionally, and then for us men who enjoy it physically?
I would say that's something that it took some time. We did our love languages probably, want to say like 3 years into our marriage, probably 3 or 4 years into our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan's love language, she had like, I want to say like 3 or 4 of them that were all really close. So I would say it's easy to hit some of them, but it's hard to know which one she needs at that time, because
Gotcha.
if she's gifts, and if she's not acts of service, but gifts, spending time, words of affirmation. I forget the other one. But so let's just say like she needs words of affirmation, and I'm over here, trying to hit the gifts, like, hey, go ahead and take that, and she's waiting for me to say something,
Take that.
So, and then my love language is acts of service. So, and that's like cleaning and things like that. And that wasn't one of the close ones for her. So I'm over here cleaning, like, hey, I'm doing more than work, because most people, you hear, especially TV shows and stuff like that, like, oh, you do the dishes, you do the laundry, all that. You get in the physical part, but if that's not your spouse's love language, that's almost falling on deaf ears, So, so it's just paying attention and being more present, at knowing what she needs at that time, and it's always a work in progress, because sometimes she may be in this or this mood, so it's always changing. So just being more present, knowing what she needs for that moment.
Mm-hmm. So have you noticed that there's like she has a stronger connection to probably 2 of the love languages, or one more than any of the others?
I would say, like words of affirmation. So when we talk and spend time, so I think spending time was one of the love languages too. So like talking and being vulnerable, like telling her things that she may not know, or things that she wants to, things that she cares to talk about, that those that are important to her.
Yeah.
Those are the things I feel like make a better connection for her, so like that way she has her love tank full. So, and when her love tank is full, I feel like it's easier for her to.
Yours is empty.
Right.
Over. Huh?
But when you have a full tank, like I think it's easier to put into, well, you're gonna empty your tank to like fill up somebody else's though. So it's almost like the teeter totter, like you got to balance it out. So like you don't want to always you can't be running on E all the time,
Yeah.
That's when things get tough. Yeah.
There is there. Okay.
Right. That's when you get to rip out without no when the arm falls asleep, just get to rip out.
Get off.
Well, I guess it depends.
Right.
All right, Carl. What about you? How do you express intimacy?
Honestly, I don't even remember what my wife's love language, or actually what her love languages are.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been together for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just know like what she wants, and that's what I do. So I try to do it as much as I can, or as much as possible. That would be words, and services. So doing, clothes, dishes, like I do most of the stuff around the house. Like it's actually me doing like the mopping, the sweeping, the dishes, the laundry. Like I do that kind of stuff. So it's in a sense it's a role reversal if you look at the traditional roles that people have kind of given society. Um, so she likes that as well as compliments, which I've always liked giving. So that's nothing for me. Um, and she's cool. She's good with gifts too, but I would say those two.
Okay.
I would say those two.
Gotcha. Yeah, the first time I've heard of the five love languages like years ago, but I had such a bang bang mentality when it came to what's being expressed because I heard of the words of affirmation. So for me, that's speaking during the fellowship. That's what you like. Okay, all right. And then quality time because it's intimate between the two of you. And I am giving you something because you're expressing that you're enjoying what's happening, and I'm obviously acting upon the body by giving it a service, and I'm touching it too. So that was literally like my whole thought process because during that time I was singularly focused on like bang bang, and that was it. So I really had to really learn what it is, what love is about, because even love has there's seven different types of love. But when it comes to expressing to your partner or to whoever you're with, you have the words of affirmation, quality time, giving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch, all of which are not sexually directed. There, as you guys were saying, words of affirmation is nothing but encouraging. Just making sure that you say the words to uplift the ego or the personality or the situation, just giving that person that the confidence that what they're doing, they actually are somebody, they are a man, they are a woman, they are valued. Uh, Quality time is not just sitting around, but sitting around and doing something together. Giving gifts, you have I don't like it. My wife doesn't like it either. But you have Valentine's Day, you give out gifts, and you have anniversaries and birthdays, acts of service, as Carl was saying, around the house. And then physical touch isn't just touching on the body at night, but actually holding hands, linking arms. The gentleman way of doing it as we're
And,
going to the ballroom.
and I forgot quality time. She definitely likes the quality time, even if we're not even doing anything. As
Yeah.
long as we're in the same room or somewhere near each other, she's
Yeah.
good with that.
Yeah, and I've heard you guys say it before. It's all about that QT time.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Q needs her QT time. I remember Ashley saying that. So as for me, it took me like learning, actually trying to educate myself, because growing up, I saw I guess you can call it the gift giving. I saw a lot of it of that from my dad to my mother, but not my mother to my dad or any of the other types because I just didn't see it. So from you guys, how did you guys initially learn how to treat a woman, treat your spouse, your wife? Like, where did you guys get pretty much these things in the love languages and being intimate? Where did you guys learn that from? What helped you define that?
Me,
Yeah, you go, Carl.
um, my surroundings. It was growing up in a two-parent household where the two parents actually liked each other, which everyone can't say the same, and I know and I understand that. So my parents, I grew up in a house with two parents, mom and a dad, my mom and my dad, and they liked each other, so it kind of made it easy to see and to be able to model what I needed to do or what I should do.
Mm-hmm.
And you leave what it is that you want and don't want. But it came from seeing my brother at an early age marry into a family where, you know, his wife already had kids, so they were like, you know, kind of like the blended family. And the way that they came together, and he embraced her kids like literally they are his kids, period. Like seeing that kind of stuff, like I love that. And that really, that I would say was definitely a part of you know, what helped me. And I then as well did the exact same thing. He took them in as his kids and his kids only, and I embraced them as my nieces, period. They're 100% my nieces. You know what I mean? So it was definitely my the surrounding of my family, my parents, my brothers. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't too hard. And then that's how I'm able to then talk to other people and tell them like, hey, you know, this is a good way to go, or at least a good way to start. And you kind of figure out things as you go that you like and don't like. But that's where mine came from.
Cool. All right, Adam.
I would say, I would probably say a lot of it came from seeing what I liked and didn't like from my parents, and you know, taking the things that I felt were gonna be, I guess, beneficial for me. And for Jordan, I would say a lot of it comes from us, because everything that I thought was beneficial for, you know, for our relationship may not have been beneficial. You know, like there may have been some things that definitely like, okay, like, yeah, like I thought this was good, but yeah, actually that's not good, you know. So us, you know, talking about things like that work and that don't work, knowing that, okay, like we didn't come from the like a I would say like a model household. You know, like I have both parents. I raised from both parents, but they express their love for each other different than I would say most people do. Like then you would say like a model relationship. Like so most people would be like, oh, okay, like and that's a little different. Like you know, if you take a poll, like they would say like they're on the outside, you know, of what a relationship should look like.
Right. So it wasn't like a Cosby household.
Right, exactly. It wasn't like a Cosby household. Yeah. So, but they always figured out how to make things work for them. And for me, like I wanted to have a relationship where it's not like we're just making it work. Like we're purposely doing things so we can make each other happy, not just like, oh, okay, like just make this work or whatever. You know, we're in this for the long haul, like just whatever, just get by. So, so we do a lot of at one point we were doing a lot of articles, like when we felt like things weren't going the way we wanted. So doing our own research on things like that and sharing like our stories or our thoughts on a certain article. Within the last, I would say like 2 or 3 years, we've been listening to more like relationship podcasts, like the Love Hour, and then listening to people that like self-improvement books. So like taking things from people that have experienced certain aspects in life that you can relate to and applying that to our relationship. So, and then talking about it, like, you know, somebody may say something that's great, but it necessarily doesn't resonate with our relationship, but it's still like good information to have because, you know, when our kids are going to be in a relationship, like we can use some of that knowledge to pass on to them. Or, you know, if we come across something that, or another relationship, like we can share that knowledge with them. Like, hey, this didn't work for us or it didn't resonate with us, but we did hear this. Like, this may be something you can try. So I feel like we've been, you know, being purposeful with trying to figure out ways to keep our relationship like fresh and, you know, understanding each other.
That's pretty good because it sounds like before you can even get to the infamous bang bang, there has to be a lot of effective communication between the two of you guys, so you really
Right.
understand the direction that you guys want to go together. So that's what it's that's what it that's what I'm hearing right now.
Right. Hmm.
That is part of the key. And so for me, that's really why I started originally founding our relationship on being honest, transparent in our communication. So that way I will always know where your head is at. So initially with me and Quaya, it was all about her giving me these things so I can be comfortable enough to release what it is that I have inside of me. The funny thing is that backfired. She wasn't having that, and I needed to do it just as much as she was doing it. And so that's where the open came in. Like, you're going to be honest, but I want you to be open about it. Don't be closed minded, be selective for what it is that you want to share with me, because I'm very good at that. I can say a lot, but then at the end of the day, I didn't say anything. So you really don't know where my heart really sits. So she threw the open in there, and that's where it caused me to be more vulnerable than I normally am or want to be, because I'm more of a shut off type of guy. And so that's what led to recent events. So the recent event is, which is why communication is extremely important. But there was a man cave with the church, and so I had expressed something that I came out of. So I see it. I came out of it. There's no discussion. I handled it. You were present when it happened. So just you being there was good enough for me to push it aside. There doesn't need to be a conversation. But I felt moved. And so I ended up sharing that there has been times where I've gotten extremely depressed, and I don't even want to be on this earth anymore. So I shared that on the man cave with the church, and she found out about it because it's live on Facebook, and then came calling me, and I'm just sitting here like, I knew this was coming because I know the moment I said it, I'm going to have to deal with it because it's not anything I've ever spoken to her about. Like everything else I did, but with that, for some reason, that brick on the wall still sat there, and it wasn't something that I felt comfortable or confident enough in sharing, only because expressing it is an admission, but then furthermore, it makes me feel less of a man because now I'm showing that there was a real weakness there. So that's where the difficulty was, because now it's all out there for the world to see, was with me, was expressing that last piece, because being that way causes your partner to feel as though they're inadequate. Like, oh, you trust me to not that extent, so you don't trust me, because if we're supposed to be in this together, you should be comfortable enough to be vulnerable to express everything that's on your mind. And so she forced me to remember the words that I've said before. We all have our different pasts, but our pasts put us in preparation for what is to come. And when we get to that moment, you're obviously ready for the moment because your past prepared you for it. So the woman that I'm married to now, all of her past prepared her to deal with someone that's for me, because God intentionally put her in my life, and we're at this point for a purpose and for a reason. So she forced me to remember that, and forced me to be open, forced me to apologize, because I don't like apologizing, because I don't like being wrong or admitting that I was wrong, because there's not supposed to be any issues. I don't want any issues with my parents' relationship. There was a lot of issues, and the issues had my name in it. So it's just like, I don't want to be attached to problems. So I have that there. So I think communication is extremely important.
You was wrong. All right, go ahead.
And the thing is, we had the conversation. I'm like, I haven't even told my wife this. I know I'm probably going to get in trouble. I don't know. I haven't even looked at the replay to see, but I know Pastor was like, just tell her to leave the room, let the Spirit use you, whatever the case may be, because it might help somebody. So I just ended up saying it. But I knew the fiery storm was coming. I was just like, I don't want to deal with this. I want to talk about it with you when I want to talk about it. And it just so happened to be 48 hours later, because I'm not an all open emotional type of person, but I understand that I have to be in order for there to be like a successful marriage, because you can't be 99% in, because that 1% could lead you to be 100% out, and now you're by yourself. So it's a work in progress for me. But having you guys around, unfortunately, the other brothers weren't able to join. But having you guys around collectively is like a constant reminder, especially with Carl. He be staying on me about Texas. Hey, it is what it is. You got to do for what's in front of you, your household. Number one, she's at the top of the pyramid. God is above all of that. You can't even quantify or place him anywhere. So Huey's at the top. Kids and everybody else can be trash. That's pretty much what he told me. So having you guys here is really cool, and it's good to hear your guys' like insight on intimacy as well, because I guess I'm not alone. A lot of it is physical, but you can't get to the physical if you're not making sure each other are happy before you even get to that point.
Right, and you can. It's just not as good.
Right.
Like I feel like you could literally have the exact session twice, the exact way with the same exact amount of energy, and it not feel the same way. Just with a difference in communication or like where you're at as a couple. Like everything could be exactly the same, but when you're on the same page and you guys are just really like, loving each other, that session is different than a session when you're like, let's get it in, and just y'all are not really on the same page. Like,
yeah.
It's not the same.
Because you'd be able to feel the lack of the emotional connection. It's just going through
It's the emotional.
Yeah, going through the motion. Okay.
It's all in the mind.
Yeah, it's mental. There's definitely mental aspects.
So what do you guys?
And also,
go ahead, Carl.
No, I just wanted to, because Adam has been getting his muscles on camera. I just want to get mine on camera.
Summer is almost ready.
COVID-19. COVID-15 over here. This is.
Hey,
look!
You can't see the lower.
Yeah,
he's gonna keep going.
I'm not even flexing.
Keep going too. Like
I see the triangle. Okay, I see the horseshoe over there. I see the horseshoe popping out.
I was trying to do something here and there.
Maybe try something else. Maybe try.
I kid. No, I'm not doing anything.
I'm trying to get
natural.
I'm trying to get
that's even better.
You said it's natural?
No, Carl's is.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the COVID-40. I'm trying to reach these weight goals so it can come out. No problem. But what is it that you guys say that you actively like do to keep the fire burning in your relationship? Like to always keep it, like you said, the love tank full, but we want to have some fire in there too, some true passion for one another. Go ahead, Adam.
I would say definitely listening to like different podcasts that we can relate to, like talk, like have a deeper connection with, like something that we can work on. Like when we hear things like, "Dang, we can do better at this," and then actually like being able to like put in the work or put in that energy to whatever we're trying to improve, like being more vulnerable. Like that was something that we were working on for a while. Just like, okay, we tried to like set up conversations to be, be more vulnerable, mostly like, especially for me. But I'm like, that's not something that I had to do for a long time. Like that's not something that growing up that I had. I wasn't, walking around being vulnerable. Like my parents, we didn't talk about vulnerable topics. Like they didn't talk. I didn't see them talk about vulnerable topics. So like, and like for you, like if that's what you want, then I want you to like show me what it looks like, and then I can follow your lead. Like I can, mirror what you're doing. But if you're not showing me, then it's like if that's something that you want, but you don't know how to do it, or you don't feel comfortable doing it because you don't see that I'm doing it, then it's like, okay, we need to put energy in to figure out how to do it together.
Don't get fed, pretty much.
You said what?
Don't get fed. Like I don't
right.
know if you need something if you don't tell me that you need something.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So like so what we do is just to keep the passion in whatever we're doing, just being present and looking at options to just setting up time to like actually attack whatever topic or situation that we're in, putting that energy towards that. I wouldn't say it's not perfect, because but it's just like something that when you fall off the wagon, it's like, okay, like what do we need to do to get back on? And then you get back on and everything is good, and then you fall off again. So, but yeah, I would say that's probably the most part. We try not to be off for too long, because if that wagon leaves, before you can get back on, it's not a good situation.
No intimacy, man.
Right, exactly.
No bang bang at all. Out there. Like Jamie, I need my cocoa. I need some cocoa.
Yep. Definitely needs my cocoa.
All right, Carl.
I would say similar, staying vulnerable, and for me, just making sure I continue to take out the trash, mop, keep the dishes clean. When she sees that, the fire, when she walks on the floor with her bare feet, and
she's not scraping off.
And she's not tracking crumbs everywhere.
When them feet, when they don't
the
turn.
fire, right? The fire be burning.
Don't burn yourself there, Carl. Don't burn yourself.
The fire department come knocking.
911 on the way, huh?
Yeah, it's that floor.
The crumbling feet.
She notices it right away. She's like, "Oh, you mopped, okay."
Oh, I can
seeing her come across the kitchen floor. You like with a muffin or something? You better hold up. Right.
So when you walk into the house and she see her reflection in the floor, it's on and popping.
When she take off her socks.
Yep.
When she hit the bare feet.
Socks come on. That's it.
Now, let me give you a secret. Just get her some nice, comfortable house shoes. You never know. You ain't never gonna feel no more crumbs.
What's funny is I bought her At least 2 pair.
Uh-huh.
At least 2 pair.
Uh-huh.
If you ask her right now where they are, she would have no idea. Like, and I know that. I know she's just a barefoot person. She it's bare feet or nothing. So
You
just gotta try to stay on top.
You gotta get her the house shoes that have the cooling, so it can feel like she's walking on tiles. Like, oh, it's cold.
Maybe, but I know she's just that's her. So I gotta stay on top.
Yeah.
So she can stay on top. No, I'm just playing. I kid.
He doesn't. Like he said, he likes playing the Congo. He's not lying. So of course, we have our responsibilities for the household, right? We have to go out. We have to make our money. So, but yet the bang bang is actually something that's important in a marriage. I mean, we can always go back to the Bible. The Bible always says you have to go back. You have to go out and multiply, become one flesh with your wife. You have to make sure you're not withholding from one another. So you have to keep that still physical connection with each other, but balance the day, balance the kids. How is it that you guys are able to successfully navigate that? Have you fallen off and gotten back on track? Put it on the calendar, schedule it out. Like, what is it that you guys do to keep that physical connection going between the two of you guys? Carl.
Wait, navigate. You said navigate. I didn't hear what you said.
Navigating, like pretty much navigating the kids, your responsibilities as a man, of course, head of household, bills, job, all of that.
How do I navigate that?
To keep the physical connection between you and your wife.
It's really just allocating time to different things. Like for me, or at least for us, just trying to be as schedule conscious as possible. I think with organization and order, it allows for like intimacy side to stay intact. So, kids are not running rapid at all times of the night. Just try to get things done early. You know what you like. So as a married couple, if you like to do things, you know what times you like to do things or hang out together, watch a movie, whatever you want to do. So you just kind of try to knock out other things in a timely manner so that you can get to what you're looking to get to as a husband and wife.
Gotcha.
So I just try to, just break it up. Like, kids will do something around this time. You guys can do this. Time to go to sleep.
Gotcha. Yeah, with us, as you know, we up there. We up there per week. We talking about regular, consistent physical interaction. But since
well, you up where? You not having how many kids?
No, you stupid.
Fellowship?
Man.
Y'all ain't up there.
We're up there.
Tell the people. Tell the people how y'all up there. Tell the people.
3 times a day, sometimes more.
Put the kitties to bed right now because we're about to talk about this. If whoever's watching, put the kitties to bed. All right, this is hot tea after midnight.
Get real intimate.
Yeah, it's about to get real intimate.
This is the hot seat after midnight.
So yeah, we regular, just consistent with it. Made sure that we made a point to do that because we're both extremely highly desired individuals. So it becomes a competition to a certain extent. But since being married, It's like we're regular folk. So it's just like we're trying to get back to where we were in adjusting life because now we're together. She's a nurse, so she works at night. I'm gone during the day, so it doesn't happen as much.
Okay. So I was gonna say, so the competition was earlier.
Oh, well, yeah, it was earlier for sure. It was on and popping.
What is the competition? What are you competing for?
Well, it's.
I know this is your show, but
it's pretty.
The hot seat has changed.
The hot seat.
Yeah, hot Carl. Here we go. The hot Carl topic. Here we go. So no, the competition is more so who can go the longest, who's going to tap out first, who can be in the moment and want more at a given time than the other. So it's really like really going really back and forth, trying to tap each other out just to be
within the session, or are you talking about within the day?
Oh, within the session.
Oh, okay. Within each individual.
Yeah, within each individual session. So it's just wherever you can is where it happens as often as we possibly can. So it's just now with us being married, it's like it don't even know how to spell the word anymore. What is it? X-E-S? Okay.
Right. Right. Session.
Yeah, so trying to work it back to where we once were because work has changed. COVID-19, you would think it would open the floodgates. But with us, we're both essential workers and we're working in two completely different capacities. So it's just, I'm tired, but everything is not taken care of, or everything is taken care of, but you're still tired. So we're still trying to, navigate through that. And I think what is a good compensation for it is forcing me more so to be more vulnerable and open when we have our conversations before the Z's caller.
Before what?
The Z's caller. Before the Z's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, before she knocks out.
Yeah. So are y'all on the low end now?
Oh yeah, we're on the low end.
So the low end. What is the low end? What is the low end in the Wilsons world?
Yeah, the low end before is not. It was 21 times a week. Now it's like 2.
The low end was 21 times a week?
Oh yeah, that was the low end back then.
Wait, that was the low end?
Then
I thought that was the max. Wait. I took your hat off. I almost knocked Carl's hat off.
Right. I have. Right. My hat almost came off, but I realized I got that COVID-19 hair. So I was just like, hold on, because I could see it. Oh, wait, dang, never mind.
I had to throw it on because of that.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to fall out my seat. I'm leaning all the way back. So now the low end is 2 times a week.
Uh-oh.
Yep. That's how it's been. The past few weeks has been just about that. So it's just like navigating. Yeah.
So it went from literally 3 times a day to 2 times a week.
Yep.
That's a big. And those are 2 low ends. What is the high end? Just for my own personal entertainment.
Probably.
What is the high end? What is the previous high end?
The previous high end? Hold on, let me think. I used to be able to keep a calendar but she said no more. So I had to delete the calendar. So let me try to remember. I think the most was probably like 40
in a year.
40 times in a week was probably the most. But then the reason that the reason why that was possible.
What I missed?
Because
you knocked Carl out?
Yeah, I sent him to the upper room. He out of here.
The upper room?
No, but the reason that amount was possible is both of us were on vacation. So that was why 40 times in a week was possible, because we were.
Wait, 40 times?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I gotta situate myself. I'm trying to find a plug. Cause my computer's gonna die. I gotta hear this. Okay.
I think Carl's praying. He's praying to his father.
To get to 40 times in a week.
Yeah. But that was only because both of us were on vacation. I think that's what really made it possible. But yeah.
How long were y'all on vacation? Was it the whole?
Yeah. For
how many days y'all have?
7. We both had. Well, technically, the 5 days during the week. But 7.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's about 7 to 9 because there was a holiday attached to it too. So.
Y'all had a 40? Y'all put up 40?
Yeah, we put up 40 in a week.
Man, that's like Kobe putting up 81.
Hey, man, like I said, we both hired desired, so it just works that way. But yeah.
You have some blue chew?
Hey, if we had the blue chew, it might be more. It might be more.
So when we go to ATL, do we gotta put music on? Like, are we gonna be having to play? So,
hey, we're gonna be.
Y'all like be playing games? I can be like, all right.
You might be making up, man. Might have to make up. Making up. Make sure everybody got music on blast. 911 gonna have to come for real.
So this will be our first vacation as a married couple, right?
Yep. First one.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Did he say 40?
Yeah.
40.
I just woke back up.
So
just basic calculations. Just basic calculations. That's almost 6 times a day.
Yeah.
It's very, very close to 6 times a day.
Yeah, before and after meals. How you do it? Eat 3 meals a day, before and after.
Woo!
Well, yeah. So with you, Adam, how do you balance your responsibilities, life, everything that's going on, and still keep that physical connection with you and Jordan?
Man, I'm still shocked by 40. Like I'm like, I'm like, what? You know, like, man, people putting up those numbers. You know, like you know that dude in high school that you know, you be like, dang, that dude is averaging 35. Like, who does that? You know, like that's how I feel right now. Like, dang, like.
Hey.
I'm putting up.
Right. There was one cat. I think he went to Narbonne. He was like putting up like 30 or like a little bit over 30.
And when it's like averaging, it's like you can have, you know, it's like
you're not passing the ball,
right?
Wow.
It's like y'all didn't go anywhere in the city. Like y'all didn't explore, you know, the city.
Never
Y'all
left the
out
house.
there. Y'all was just
They was
in the room.
on quarantine before they had to be.
Right? Yeah.
Where's Kiwi? I need confirmation. Kiwi, I see her on the wall. I see her up there, but no, go ahead.
No, I was saying, how do we keep up our physical connection?
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah. I would say we have an understanding now. At first, it was a little more of a conversation about like okay, or different. We were on different pages. What we should be doing for that.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like it's we know what both of us kind of want, So if we fall in between that, and most likely, like we're not going to be arguing or fighting longer than a day or two, So that shouldn't really throw off our physical connection if we're doing the things that fill up each other's love tank. So we just try to communicate and know what we want, and we're not trying to put up 40 a week.
Okay, try.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, just communicating and being on the same page, filling up each other's love tank. Like the physical connection part just happens to, we have that commonality to where, like, I guess where we know what each other want, so we try to meet in between. So
Gotcha. Yeah, because with us, what we did have a conversation just like right about the time before we got married, just to make sure, because a lot of people, I can assume, and hearing different podcasts and different stuff like that, higher desire, lower desire, partner, I didn't want that to be an argument like with us, to where that's something that we're arguing about, because that's something that's so small and it's technically something you're supposed to do and a part of marriage. You shouldn't be arguing about that. It just comes with it. It comes with the ring. Like that's something that you're just supposed to do. So I made sure that we had a conversation about it, because we're both higher desire, but we still need to prepare ourselves in the event that we drop off down to 2 times like we are right now. So that way we still had that effective communication, but we're still in the same like playing field. There isn't one person like itching and scratching for it and is not getting it. It's we both understand the reasons why, or this is something that can substitute in the event of you're too tired or I'm too tired, to that way there's still some type of interaction between the both of us to make sure we're not getting mad over that. So that's one thing I do not want to argue about. Like that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
So during these times with everything happening, the 2 times a week, or since both of you guys are higher desire, coming from the numbers that you guys are at, like if
21 being low,
right, yeah. So like I'll use Jordan as an analogy. Like when Jordan came back from playing baseball, he had that game in the playoffs where the ball got stolen from him against the Magic. They got put out the playoffs, and he came back like, I need to get it, because he was used to winning, So now I feel like he was itching for more when he lost. So are you itching for more? So like, are you like trying to get back to that number, or right now is it you guys are like it's like at a point where content, at that point, like, because people don't have that Jordan mindset for a lot of things. So people, if you're not Jordan, you made it, you come back in the middle of the season, you make it to the conference finals, you're like, dang, I did good. I played baseball for 18 months. Like, I'm straight. Like, I got all the way to the conference finals. Who cares? But then Jordan's mindset is like, oh, I got to get better. I got to get back to where I was at, Somebody else, like, Vince Carter, I don't even think he made it to the to the championship. I think he made it to the conference finals, but he never made it to the championship because of his mindset. He never, pushed himself to get more or back to a level like, Jordan wanted to get back to that level and, get back to winning championships. So what would you say, like, for now with that too? Are y'all content? Like, you cool? You on that Vince Carter level? Or
we haven't had that conversation like yet. But I know for me, heck no. I'm not just want to settle for 2 times a week.
But like, 2 times for the average American couple, that's more than most people get.
Yeah.
Nah, that is not what's up at all. So it's we're no. I can't live that life. Nah. So that's something that we'll have to talk about. But for sure, because there's a difference between courting and dating and being married. Like that's 2 completely different worlds. And I know it's going to affect physical intercourse with my wife, with your partner. It's always going to do that. It's always going to be a change. Just like you are dating this person, they're completely different now that you're married. Because there's certain expectations that you're looking for from each other, and you have to adjust because now someone's mind is different. Not that it's possessive of your spouse or your partner, but you're more so protective. Like you want to protect your spouse and make sure that they're okay and all of this stuff. Like don't talk to her. She might hurt you. I'm not going to hurt you. Or don't talk to him because all he wants is the bang bang. All of those different factors that come to play when you're in a relationship. So now we're going to work back towards that. I'm not going to settle with getting knocked out in the first round or not even
right.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the first. Well, I guess it could be the first round.
Yeah, no. We need to get all the way to the promised land. we're gonna keep working, working that back, and never know. This ATL trip might bring it back. I don't know.
Right.
Make sure. Game-winning shot, and we back on it. So I'm not too sure, but no way. Seven.
So I'll have Adam's room next to you guys, and then we'll be on the opposite side of the house.
Wait, you have my room next to theirs? Why? So we can hear them?
So we don't have to.
Oh. Y'all gonna be competing. Hear that?
What's that movie? Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
I've seen that.
Over there competing.
I need to see that again because I don't necessarily. It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
That movie's so funny. Man, they were going at it. My last question is this, just to close it all out, because I think we had a pretty good conversation. I appreciate you guys. So Adam, what has the quarantine, what has it taught you for your marriage, you being a father, husband?
I would say what I've learned. Well, I would say what I appreciated from the quarantine, like expressing gratitude, because I feel like a lot of people were in disarray, oh my goodness, I'm stuck at home or I'm with the kids all day, I can't do nothing. But for me, I looked at it as this is something that will probably, until I get rich or until I'm financially free, this is something I won't be able to do for a long time. So I necessarily wasn't worried about everything else. There's stuff that I couldn't control anyway. So I looked at it as this is what is meant to happen for us, and spending time being here with the kids more, something that I've never got to really do like that was, was something I appreciate. I mean, I'm thankful that I got that out of the quarantine. And as in for our relationship, we got to spend more time with each other and talking more about different things that on a deeper level than, after we get off of work and trying to feed the kids or take them to practice and or a quick conversation in the car or in between making something for dinner or something like that. Like we actually got to talk and have elongated conversations about things that we feel like were important to either one of us. So I mean, more of gratitude of what happened, like being able to, not necessarily like with the economic downturn of the economy, but just within our household, like more of the gratitude of being able to be more present in the kid's life and being able to spend more time with Jordan. So yeah, more gratitude.
Yeah, I would say I would agree right along with you. It's more of a blessing type of thing to be able to put you, because before you didn't have, or you would never have the opportunity to really sit down with your kids and with your family. So it's, for me, it's motivating because it's almost like a pre-retirement trial because you have
right.
to go home, or
right.
your work hours are shortened, so that way you're really with the kids a little bit more. So that has really opened my eyes to how much fun being a father can actually be, because never got the time to really sit down and help them with their homework. Never really had the time to go to any of like the school events because I was at work. And now that COVID-19, the quarantine has happened, still can't do that part, but at least being able to have fun with the kids and be around them, I think that's really cool, especially with the relationship. We're able to complete some tasks here at the house together, be able to talk more, because now I'm not as tired, so I'm more energized, which keeps most of the time has her energized to have a conversation. And so we'll be able to get, more conversations in and planning more about the future. So I really think it's more of a blessing, because had it not been, we would still be taking baby steps in our collective life as a family rather than taking large leaps as we've been able to now. So yeah, I think.
I didn't like the homework. One thing I did not like. Helping them with the homework. That's not something.
No, I agree, because it's difficult because as a parent, it's important for you to do your homework, for you to have school and all that stuff. But I had to be like stern, like, no, you got to get it done. But I was just as excited for them for the summer to come, because I am tired of looking at this stuff.
Right.
I don't want to do this anymore. So that's one thing. What about you, Carl?
I would say ditto.
This is the Carl that we know.
Yeah, I would call it a blessing in disguise. It was a blessing disguised as COVID-19.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not ignorant to the fact of what's going on outside of the house, like Adam mentioned.
Yeah.
The economy, people are out there, losing jobs, losing their house, their homes, and so forth. In my house, it's just been really great. Like, the homework aspect wasn't too bad for me. We're in constant communication with their teachers, and it's good communication. So it wasn't that bad. Of course, I couldn't wait for summer still, though, just because that way I didn't have to do anything. But it wasn't that bad, and and of course, just being with the wife, waking up, with the wife, then hanging out throughout the day, even if, which we're both similar to the fact that even if you're occupied, we're still together. We're still in the same house. We're still in the same room. It's been good. I can't complain at all. I'm trying to figure out if they can just be online, like if can her job be online,
Yeah.
Even with the kids schooling, like I wouldn't mind some of it still being online, to a certain degree, but I cannot complain. I cannot
You got the
complain.
advantage on us. You have practice with the kids and their homework. You got the advantage.
In a sense, because I've been doing it. So, in a sense,
yeah. The cool thing is, there is a lot of dark times for a lot of people, as you stated, losing jobs, not qualifying for unemployment benefits, getting their retirement stripped away because businesses are closing, losing their house. But on the bright side of it, there's your church has expanded greatly because now more people get to see it on their timeline, on their feed, because that's everyone's shifting that way. You have other black businesses that normally would have not are now forced to go online, which is creating another stream of revenue for them. So whenever a new normalcy comes back, now they have more working streams of income. So there's still a lot of positive out of it, and I think there's going to be a slow rebound. But
there's growth. There's growth in the black business as well.
Yeah. And I think having all of this has allowed not only us to be introspective within ourselves, handle a lot of, whether it be grief or with me, my situation, having to talk about it again, but still making sure that whatever it is that's in you internally, you actually deal with it. You have the time to deal with it between you and your partner, you and your wife, your spouse, husband. But then more importantly, you can really pay attention and start affecting change across the country because you don't have, distractions. The distractions that we love is sports and football, and none of that's there. And so because we're not naive to the time that we're in, we're not being oblivious. We know that the Black Lives Matter movement is prominent and prevalent, and they're really trying to affect change. And it's not just black people, it's multiracial. Like all walks of life are joining in and trying to affect change in a positive way. So I think that's another positive out of everything that's going on, because now everybody has the ability to sit back, think, and see what has happened, what has been going on, and actually address it to change it, not to find a systematic workaround to keep things going the way they've been going, but to actually make systematical legislative change.
Yeah, there's definitely, as much as people talk about things going backwards, I see things going forward as well, though. So,
yeah,
I think there's definitely progress that is being made.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I've heard people say, I've heard people say like this is the 50s and the 60s all over again, like stuff like that. And I'm like,
yeah, I've heard that too.
I don't think it's my desire to live at that time. Like, I mean, if I did, then I'm sure, God would have helped me and whoever else, through it. But I can't, like, I don't think this time and that time is I don't see that as being the same. I see it being a much bigger struggle at that time. a much bigger struggle. So,
Yeah.
like for you to say like, oh, it's all over again. No, absolutely not.
Yeah. The 50s and the 60s was a fight.
Absolutely not.
Was the fight to be recognized as humans in the public eye. What's happening now is more private inclusion because we've already got the public, but it's just now we need the private inclusion as far as being in corporate America, being more CEOs being represented on different boards and things of that nature. So that way, the trickle down effect is now what you see on TV is more inclusive as well. Because all of us have grown up looking at that type of movie and it's cast as all white. We never even had the thought of thinking, well, what if it were all black people playing that role? Would we still watch it? Would it still be good? We never even had that thought process until today's type of society because of the 50s and the 60s. And to people who say that we're going backwards, well, in a sense, figuratively, you have to go backwards to understand where the problem started in order to change anything for the future. Like you gotta know what happened in the past, and so that way you ensure it doesn't repeat itself. That's why I say to people who like, oh, we're going backwards. Well, if you would have done the right thing back then, we wouldn't have to go back and rehash 2012 Trayvon Martin, Emmett Till before that in the 60s. Like we wouldn't have to address all of that if you would have just made the change. Redefine everything to where everyone is included. So then you wouldn't have this problem.
And I think we're probably a bigger part of the economy now. So
yeah, because we're a huge
minority in this. If we're like, you know what, let's stop doing that. Businesses will literally start closing, bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there's more power. There's more power now.
Yeah.
Like so many, like things can literally be closed if we were like, okay, we'll stop shopping there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really true. And even on the topic of intimacy, there's a level of compassion there and connection. So even with all of it, everything that we have to address for there to be change, you have to be compassionate about it and be connected to it for there to be continued push, for there to be a prevalent, consistent group of people that are eager to make a change. So I think all of us here within our households, we exemplify it in a certain way so that when they go out into the world, they know how to treat people as well. So that way this type of oppression, if you will, could cease to exist. So we teach our kids there aren't any colors, it's just respect people for the fact of respecting people. And then now you can have more respected relationships with people and within your household as well. Because you might have, you're thinking this way and you're thinking that way because the key word, you're not communicating. So there's a disconnect there. And there's obviously been a disconnect in this country and not effective communication, which means you're actually listening and trying to empathize with the person speaking to you so you can move forward collectively. Yeah. Any last words, Adam?
No, just I would say communicate, be present, have goals to, be able to keep that physical connection.
Yeah. Keep the cardio going.
Exactly, yeah. So communication and being present.
Yeah. That'll knock off the COVID-19 15.
All right. Yeah. True. Put in the work though.
You gotta put in the work. That's true.
That's that desirable cardio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in order to actually put in that work, you got to be emotionally connected.
Right, exactly.
Just laying there and nobody. All right, Carl, any final words?
I guess my final words would be a question. What does intimacy mean to you?
For the people, right? Drop it in the comments.
No, this is for the flowy.
We want to hear from you.
I want to hear from flowy.
Right at the beginning. You
I'm
want
just
to
No, I'm just playing.
That is a good question. Everyone, make sure you answer that in the comments. Go ahead.
Last words. I would just say communication is key. That's what I would say. Communication is key. There is no genuine intimacy without communication. And real communication, not just talking, but, communication that's actually beneficial to your situation. So if you talk, if you really get down to the nitty gritty, the intimacy will follow, and it'll be what I consider mind blowing. You actually get to experience what God meant for a husband and wife. If you want to experience that,
Yeah,
you need to talk.
mind blowing, back breaking, all of that. Have to buy new headboards every other week. That's what you got to do. You got to communicate.
Them headboards be sold out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes it easier when you're on the purple mattress too. That makes it so much easier.
We didn't have headboards.
Yeah, that's why it's easier.
That's
We need a headboard. Who needs that decoration? Pointless decoration.
It's something to tear down. That's all it is. Something to tear down.
There's more stuff when you move. More stuff to dust.
That is true. That is true. But I will say like this: everyone has their issues. Everyone has weeds in their life, and you have to really pluck them out. But if you're the ground, you're not the person that's going to be able to pluck out the weed. You need someone there to help to pluck out the weed and make sure a weed doesn't grow. And that's why your partner is there with you to make sure you get the weeds out. You retill the land together, so that way whatever you decide to plant, you nourish it, you water it, you give it the sunshine and the attention that it needs. So when it blossoms and grows, it's bearing nothing but good fruit. Intimacy is the key. Communication is the key to that intimacy, so you can have that happy marriage, that happy life, happy wife, happy husband, strong and connected family. Whether you created the family together, as these two gentlemen have done, or with me blending a family together, doesn't matter, as long as you're putting in the work, tilling that land to make sure it bears good fruit. Everything will be all right. So I thank you guys too, my brothers, for taking the time out to be here to speak with me. Much love and peace to everyone watching. Please make sure you go ahead and find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, subscribe, like the page, follow, and leave the comments. We like the engagement. We appreciate it. We're slowly but surely growing, and it's all because of you guys, the watchers. We're getting sponsorships. We're getting brand ambassador deals with companies, and it's all because you guys are staying engaged. And all of that is free, and we get to give it back to you by dropping promo codes so you guys can have things in your house that you may need, brands that you may want to support, like God is Dope. which is here. I got the red on because intimacy is attachment to love, and God is love. He shed his blood for each and every one of us. So yeah, all because of you guys. We appreciate it. We thank you for providing the free support, because that's all we want. We just want free support. Share, like, comment, watch. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week.